All right, here. Oh man, I've just been channeling, and I don't even know if I can remember everything that I've been channeling. That last part, I'm definitely not going to talk about. But I mean, sometimes it's fine to wander in your thoughts. You know, like everybody just talks about that your mind needs to stay focused. You need to stay focused. You need to stay focused. Raw, focused, focused, focused. And that's a strong mind that should get A pluses. But let me destroy that argument right now, because sometimes it's fun to take a stroll. Whether you're taking a stroll through a windy path in the forest or a desert, or just down a neighborhood where you turn this way or that, and it's healing. It's a nice part of the day, and just as all the work you did before, so it's about a whole brain. So it's fine to wander sometimes. But let's see, what do I want to talk about? I want to talk about okay. I want to talk about political systems, and then I wanted to talk about the law, and then I want to talk about celibacy, I guess. Fuck. Yeah. Anyways, alright, let's do it. Ugh. So, where do I start? Because it's like I want to talk about political systems, and it's like all that we know about political systems is processed through the toxic politics of our day, right? Because like damn, like politics has become toxic. Like I don't pay attention to politics. Like I don't care who's president or who's senator or who's this or that. Like I just don't pay attention to anything that's happening in the political world. I did when I was a teenager, but like it was just like what? Like Clinton, the Democrat, is doing Republican things, and then like I stopped paying attention when Bush passed the Prescription Healthcare Act, which was like a New Deal. So here you have this Republican passing New Deal stuff, which isn't a payout to the people, it's a payout to the pharmaceutical companies, which usually support democratic causes. So I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? So I just stopped paying attention, and I haven't been paying attention since. Still don't know what's going on. I know Trump's in charge, but I don't really know much beyond that. So let's build a foundation here, right? So a democracy is it's the whim of the majority. Now you can use what I just said and just like use that as a definition of a mob, right? It's like there's actually not a whole lot of there's not a whole lot of case studies, historical case studies. Of democracies, right? I mean, we have the case study of Athens, and if we use that as a case study, then like any rational person would realize that this is a psychopathic society. Like Athens was going around genociding Greeks if those Greeks didn't agree with them. right? Which is like contradictory to what you would think a democracy is all about, right? Because they say, well, this is what a democracy is all about. It's about dialogue between the people, not really. And the people in charge, though. But it's only the majority, it's not the people, it's just the majority. And but the reality is that it's the whims of the people, right? And if you take that as a case study, then democracy looks to be bad. Although I don't think that would always be the case. Like sometimes you might have a democracy and the people are just get so fed up and they're like, hey, wait a minute, what the fuck is going on? And they just like revolt against a bad leadership. But I mean, we can get deeper into this because, like, the real power of democracy is in the illusions of the mind. And if a revolution were to happen, then you'd have to wonder whether or not that revolution was not just an illusion. Anyways, we're getting ahead of ourselves. We're off topic. We're off topic now. So a democracy is the will of the majority. Whatever that will happens to be at the moment, right? Now, like, this is why I started the video, because, like, out of the three, democracy, republic, and monarchy, right? I would be more in favor of a republic, right? I would. Because a republic is a nation of laws, right? Now, in a republic, there are democratic things that can happen, but the will the will of the people can only be changed if the laws are changed. And in a republic, that's a process. Like, you have to change, you have to adapt, definitely. Fuck yeah. But within a republic, it's like if you want to change those laws, there's a process you have to go through. It's just more rational and sane, right? I think. Now, when you look at the case studies of republics, it's to me it's interesting because you have like before the United States, all republics were aristocratic, right? Now you can separate the idea of a republic being a nation of laws from that of a particular type of aristocratic republic, right? Because the United States was founded as a nation of laws, so that's why they called it a republic, right? And so this was supposedly the first non-aristocratic republic, although if you looked at, they were founded by secret societies, and these secret societies still might be secret, and so maybe there is some sort of aristocracy out there. I don't know. I'm just a drunk. Don't listen to me. A drunk having fun in my head every now and then. But what I'm trying to say here, though, is that, again, like, everybody's like obsessed with, like, good and evil, and good guys and bad guys, and like in no way do I want to condemn democracy? Because maybe you can think of a case study where democracy wins out. Um, yeah, so I don't know. Like for example, um, I I grew up Catholic. I'm no longer Catholic nor Christian. I don't know. I'm just. I think there's something out there. I don't know what it is, but but like I was told. Um, by these books that I was reading every now and then, and they would say that Catholicism is the oldest democratic institution in the world. And I was like, oh wow, okay, right, because it's the cardinals that vote upon who the new pope is. So this is it's a democratic institution, right? Quote unquote. But it was just like, no, it's like the people who say this are misrepresenting thought, right? Because it's like, no, the Catholic Church is an institution of laws, right? And those laws have to at least be visually followed, surface followed. They have to at least be given some sort of it's like, no, it's more of a republican institution, and so it's like not all republican institutions are good or bad. Some of them are, some of them aren't. With democracies, like we see democracies in our day, and democracies have led to like all this killing between all the different people, and we're all just like angry at each other and trying to I am American, I am Chinese, I am Japanese, I am this, and I will beat you and we will conquer. And anyways, I'm just talking out of my ass right now. But yeah, democracies in our day have been just really violent and hateful, and toxic, and just I just want to be happy and chill and like shit. I just want to be happy, But then then we go to monarchies, and it's like, hey, I've read the history books, and it's just like, damn, like it's very clear. It is very clear as far as monarchies are concerned, because it's like the monarchs that people talk about and focus on, and not just the monarchs, but the sultans or the what are they called? The czars, or the tribal chieftain, or whatever. It's like the monarchies that everyone talks about is when you have a competent monarch who cares about the people, right? Like, I mean, that's what you see. That's what you totally see in the history books. There's some competent monarchs who have done great things for them, and they saved their people from destruction. But most of the times, competent men may be competent in this or that and this and that, war and diplomacy, maybe they could, play a mean game of chess or something, but sometimes they're not competent in purifying their household, and they marry for political reasons or just for looks. It's like, oh, she's sexy, I want her because she's sexy, and the children end up being spoiled little bitches. And that's what you see. What you see in a lot of monarchy is just this celebration of incompetence. Like, monarchy is just like, ooh, like most of the time I wouldn't want to live under monarchy. Like, shit, but it's like every now and then it's like, and that's what the second part of the video is about. It's all about the law. It's all about the law. Like, there's good law and bad law. It's not about the political fucking institution. It's whether it's good law or bad law. And I think that's determined by the people of that day. We need to determine what good law is right now. Nobody should have determined it before us. I mean, you can determine it behind us if you know how. No, or forward too, huh? Or yeah, you could, just in a different way. Anyways. No, it's about because one of the constants is change. And the law needs to deal with the realities of that day, But the process of acquiring that law, I think, is just the best under a republic, a nation of laws, where change is a sober-minded process rather than an emotional whim. But yeah, no, it's really all about the law. It is. Good law is good and bad law is bad. And that's not actually necessarily the case with the specific political system. It's not about the political system. It's about who we are in the now and who they were in the now and who our children will be in the now. That's what it's all about. It's all about that center point where all the changes is occurring in real time. So that's why I'm arguing that we should be in charge of the law rather than those in the past. Like, those in the past, yeah, they were in charge of the law back then, and they had a lot of great things to say, especially if they're in the scriptures. But those were laws for those times, and we need laws for our times, and that's only going to come from our conversations about it. That's only going to come from us. But anyways, I mean, that is that. And, I mean, we're talking about politics here, right? Which I don't like to talk about politics, but I'm really not, because I'm talking about it in a philosophical way. not in a modern day uh, a modern day yeah, no, I'm not getting political, like I'm not, you know, blah, 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 emotion, but if we're going to talk politics, I mean, again, we go to democracy, republic, and monarchy, right? And again, there are case studies for all of these. Until recently, we didn't have a lot of case studies for democracies because the only one was Athens. And that's a terrible case study. OMG. Ooh. But we have our own case studies, and what are those case studies? It's like World War One, World War Two, this, that, you know. There's fucking glyphosates and just like we like here in America we don't eat real bread, you know, and all that shit. So democracy just doesn't have a good name historically, but like again, speaking philosophically, these are only case studies, and maybe you could conceive of some circumstances where democracy would be a good thing. Yeah, definitely. So, but the case studies have not been good for democracies. Anyways, but yeah, we definitely have case studies for republics and for monarchies, you know. But there's there's a different political theory out there, and there's not a whole lot of case studies for this political theory, right? And that would be the political theory of anarchy, right? Now the problem with anarchy is that it's like, what type of anarchy are you talking about? Because anarchy can be expressed in many different ways. It can be. And so what type of anarchy are you talking about? You know, like for me, like the only case study for anarchy would be the Book of Judges, right? Because I interpret Moses in a hugely different way than most out there, you know. And like, don't get mad at me, let's talk. Like, I'm not trying to be like confrontative and like I've been wrong many times. I like to be wrong because I'm not the truth, like shit, and it's just so fucking it's just so fucking awesome not to be the truth, you know, like shit. La 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 la. All right. Anyways, so that's how I interpret Moses. That's how I interpret Moses, and I interpret Moses as someone who believes in merit, right? Now I'm not going to go into all the different arguments and all the this and that. But if we look at the Book of Judges, this was the laws of Moses being lived in their day, right? Like Judges was Moses' law being lived, and ultimately fallen away from eventually until Samuel came along as the new high priest. But what you see in the book of Judges is that if there's a crisis for the Jewish people, then what happens? What happens? Well, it's the best Jew who's in charge. It's the best Jew that's in charge in the book of Judges. It's not the Jew who is the son of this guy, or the grandson of that guy, or the great-great-grandson of this other guy. Shit. No, it was the best Jew who was in charge in the book of Judges. And so it was like they believed in a meritocracy. And I think you can see this through the archaeology, right? Because in the archaeology, the pottery is not the same. It doesn't have a style. Like the Greeks, they have a style. But the fact that the Greeks have a style means that this style was being enforced by an anti-free market Greek merchant class. And they were controlling the production, which limits the expression. Like in the Catholic Church, there's celibacy. There is, I was reading the Book of Enoch. It was just like somebody just gave it to me one day. I was like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, I'll read this. And and in it, like I came to this part where it really sounded like he was arguing for celibacy amongst the rabbinate. Celibacy within the Jewish religious leaders. And I'm like, no, he's not. But it really sounded like he was. And I made a video about it. Go check it out. And talk with me, because maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, But like you see this idea in the later Jewish prophets, right? You see this idea within, and it's about putting a man on his feet. That's what the angels were doing. The angels were putting a man on his feet, right? And that's what the religious leaders should be doing. They should be putting them on their feet so that they can be free. But they were still in charge. So this was the only example of anarchy. The only case study that we have of anarchy would be the time of the Judges, where you have a theocratic, or a theocratic, theocracy, theocratic, maybe? I don't know. Theocratic anarchy. Theocratic anarchy, right? Because it's like you have the book of Ruth, and there's some people who don't put it within the scriptures, but it's still a historical document. And what do you see within that historical document? You see that the judges were the jury. The jury were the judges. Now they all had to follow a set of rules that they had agreed upon for these legal proceedings, but it was the jury that had that was the judge. Um, so like the rabbis weren't in charge of daily affairs, because like it's just so much better to fucking live the life that you want to, without, it's like children, they're cute and they're amazing and they're awesome, but damn, they're just like sometimes just like a waste of time. They're just like sometimes like, oh my god, a waste of fucking time. And so much more could be said on this subject, but I will not speak it. And so, like that would be, the best of men. Someone like a Batman. I've always been a big fan of Batman. Like Batman was a hero of hard work. But he was definitely a celibate man. Because all those women that he slept with were just part of his disguise. Anyways, no, yeah, that's it.